With the earliest concept of television being first demonstrated by John Logie Baird, the BBC adopted this new technology, and after 4 years of experimentation, began regularly transmitting live pictures from their studios in Alexandra Palace in London on the 2nd of November 1936. This period of early TV from the BBC lasted until the shutdown in 1939, at the start of the Second World War, as the corporations believed the signal transmitted could be used by the Germans to locate London in bombings, leaving a 3-year span where television did exist in the UK in its most primitive form, not being common and neither advanced, leading to a massive point of interest for TV historians. Although it might seem intuitive to imagine 1930s television as being extremely formal and information heavy, there were certainly some programmes that served only to entertain the masses that tuned in. Most of these transmissions are lost media, almost certainly never to be retrieved. This is because most programmes were not generally pre-recorded, but instead transmitted live, and it was basically impossible or insanely rare for someone to record these broadcasts at home. Keep in mind that less than 20,000 households had a TV set at this time, and think about how many of those individuals had recording equipment. Exactly, 0. The concept of watching live television at this time was certainly expensive, and thus elusive, enticing, and kind of elite. To say that every piece of content the BBC put out over this span of time is lost, however, would be lying. There was foreign pre-recorded entertainment bought to be transmitted, footage was taken of production sets while they were filming, and very short stills, what we might call screenshots or telesnaps, may exist today due to newsreels capturing what the process was of making TV back in the 1930s. Apart from these small exceptions, no clips of pre-war BBC television are available today, except one 4-minute clip recorded in 1938. This piece of footage was taken on 16mm film by pointing an early model camera directly at a television set by RCA engineers, probably conducting experiments around broadcasting in Long Island, New York. At this point, the RCA company was heavily invested in the development of television in the early stages. It's really surprising and seemingly impossible that this was recorded in the United States, seeing as the BBC's transmitters at the time could only broadcast live pictures at a 30-mile radius. However, on this date, a very unique weather phenomenon occurred that allowed for the signal to travel much further and make it possible for British TV to appear on the east coast of the USA. This sounds unbelievable at first, but the actual contents of the 4-minute recording are equally as fascinating. The actual quality of the clip is understandably quite poor, but it is possible to make out some details. Here you can see Jasmine Bligh, one of the most well-known and earliest presenters on BBC television at the time. Notably, she was the one to greet the nation for the very first time in 1946, when the BBC returned after being off the air for 7 years. In this segment, that seems to last for quite a long fraction of the tape, you can make out some kind of tuning signal, test card or station identification, used frequently to assist those watching to tune or calibrate their TV sets to receive the best quality picture. The fact that TV transmissions were able to reach as far as where the RCA recording equipment was, on the same day that these experiments were being conducted, to be filmed decades before video recording equipment like VCRs existed, really emphasises how miraculous it is that this even exists, and the interest it makes us feel really shows us how we view lost media as a whole. If there existed thousands of clips of British television from this period, then the RCA recording wouldn't be anywhere near as insanely fascinating as it is to us watching it in the present day. It's only the fact that this is the only surviving piece of footage from that time that brings such intrigue. It reminds me of a piece of media that was discovered a couple of years ago. Some pieces of lost media are deemed to be lost forever, with no hope of ever being retrieved. Quite a few of these are silent films, most of them lost in the 1937 Fox studio fire, in which more than 40,000 reels of films produced by the studio were destroyed. A particular sought-after lost film is 1917's Cleopatra, starring iconic silent film actress Theda Bara. Around 20 seconds of footage from the film was known to exist, until, in 2023, a film collector discovered 41 more seconds of the film on eBay. This shocked many in the lost media community. How could this exist? It seemed like at this point, any new footage would be impossible to discover or view, but there survived 41 seconds of real, intact footage. As someone into lost media, this, as well as the RCA recording, are striking pieces of media that seem so improbably rare that being able to view them, to my intuition, seems impossible. Ultimately, it provides hope that even with every new piece of television or film that seems like it's gone for good, there might be, by chance, some of it, even a tiny snapshot, there, still surviving, just out of pure coincidence.